Hello everyone, it is me, Game Penguin 21, and today, oh boy. Yep, we are talking about the shadow of the Erd tree, apparently. Apparently the shadow of a lot of gaming journalists' nightmares, apparently. But of course, we are talking about one specific article by Kotaku. Now, of course, Kotaku, much like most of the gaming media in the current day and age, has become kind of a laughing stock in the recent times due to various recent, let's just say interesting controversies that the gaming people and the gaming populace just don't really like. And with this latest one, the Shadow of the Erd Tree DLC arriving, it's interesting to see some people's review, especially on one I will fight you in real life, but fails to do so. To be quite honest, again, it is one of those things that I've already gone over this type of video, and I've already gone over this type of stuff, but again, to see her come out of the woodwork and make yet another very banger article is quite interesting. Now, we're not going to go into the spoiler territory because obviously this is before the DLC comes out, and I don't know if I'm going to play it. I don't have a lot of money at the time, but I think that I will at least look into purchasing it eventually if I ever decide to get back into Elden Ring. Now, obviously, there are several different factors here that we got to get through this thing. But of course, like I said before, at the end of this, I keep pushing this thing back, but probably next week now because I am just very bad at keeping dates, apparently. I'm trying to release my new album coming in the next week or two, which, again, is one of those things there. I have everything done. I just need to sit down and actually edit everything together. So that will probably be released sometime towards the middle of next week because I have been deciding to take a little bit of a break to edit videos and do other things like that. So yeah, expect that to be coming in there, and I will link it all down to the Bandcamp, and if you want to go and support me there, that would be very helpful. In any case, I also stream on Twitch and do that other good stuff, like, comment, and subscribe. But let's get into this actual article talking about Allyssa Mercanti, talking about Shadow of the Erd Tree. Now, of course, this comes from Kotaku, and we start off the actual title with Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree review, massive, menacing, and magnificent. Quite an interesting way to start the article. And of course, this is also talking about and by Allyssa Mercanti. Oh boy, we're going to get some fun here. Hours into playing Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, the massive singular expansion from FromSoft's award-winning 2022 action RPG, I realized it's paralleling my real life. Oh, so you fighting monsters unbecoming of some sort of tree shadow is becoming of your own life? Oh boy. You can tell it's going to be very interesting. Until Elden Ring, I avoided Souls-likes. Their punishing difficulty and rigged boundaries frustrated me immediately. I hit a wall in Dark Souls Remastered and gave up, barely touched Bloodborne, and avoided Sekiro like it was a poison swamp. In the real world, I have mostly avoided the ire of homophobes and misogynists in the gaming industry, writing an article that temporarily shakes them up before fading into relative obscurity once Reddit refreshes. But now I am willingly subjecting myself to erroneous adventures, running headfirst into a proverbial, sorry, dyslexia. Proverbial wall just to shake it off, back up, and run into it again. Outside of the lands between and the Shadow Realm, I have spent nearly 4 months as a subject of a near-endless harassment campaign. It feels at times like logging on for a day of work is akin to walking through a boss door over and over again. See, here's the thing. If you're going to review a game like this and try to come off as some sort of victim in this context, no. Like, again, you say things like, it shakes them up before fading into obscurity. No. It's just that we continuously bring up these things as evidence of your pattern of behavior. I still remember your things about, hey, let me fight you in real life, or say, I don't know, trying to defend Sweet Baby Inc. and stuff, which was all months and months ago. We don't bring them up concurrently because, quite honestly, it doesn't necessarily paint you in a better light than this. And I also like the fact that she says, oh, I haven't played any good Souls-like games. Like, that's going to really sell us on your opinion of this game. That's going to really, really sell us on how we think, on how your experience should be taken very seriously. And I don't say this, and I don't say this to, like, bash on Alyssa specifically. It's just that with Alyssa, she's waxing poetic, like, oh, I've come across and found a new light within the frenzied flame and stuff like that. Look, here's the thing, Alyssa, right? The article that you wrote in terms of this, and I've read more of it in terms of the spoiler stuff, it's fine. It's actually a pretty glowing review, and it works. However, this intro bit comes off as you basically wanking it into your own mouth. And it's not good. It's not good writing. This is coming from someone who has dyslexia. So, obviously, and interestingly enough, again, you are willingly subjecting yourself to this sort of stuff and fighting off these people who you claim are the horrible things that you're talking about. Like, no. There is a specific reason why people talk about you in such a negative light. It's because you're a dick. Like, you are fully and utterly just a dick. I know that that's, like, kind of subjective depending on who you talk to, I guess. But you can't just sit there and say, oh, I'm willingly subjecting myself to this, to review this game because it comes to my daily life. Like, no, it doesn't. You're not out there actually fighting demons and stuff. You're out there fighting on Twitter. It's not that deep. But I guess if you want to make that connection, appreciating a piece of art in that way, I can't really fault you for that. So, continuing on here, we have, before I even make that connection between my real world and FromSoft's game, I subjectively attack Shadow of the Erd Tree with dogged determination. Subconsciously attacked. What? As if besting a boss would bleed into my everyday and imbue me with a higher tier of self-confidence. Yes, a higher tier of self-confidence. Like, basically telling the entirety of the internet, I will fight you in real life, and then when even challenged for a moment on that, you back down and crumble immediately. That is such an improvement of self-confidence. What the fuck? Much like how it feels to receive near endless hate comments from anonymous accounts or angry middle-aged men, I face Shadow of the Erd Tree entirely alone. No multiplayer summons who would work for me in early access, a feature I relied on in the base game. Okay. So I faced it solo, and after almost 20 hours, came out as Relala says, born anew. Renala? Fucking names. There is so much of Shadow of the Erd Tree, from new equipment and enemies to stunning vistas and unparalleled lore dump, that bears the fingerprints of George R.R. Martin. I am confident anyone who plays it will walk away changed. Holy shit. I have never in my life seen a gaming journalist basically just jerk themselves into a stupor. But if that's not what that intro paragraph is, like, I don't know what the fuck is that whole sentence that I just said. Listen, Alyssa, obviously you can do good work, and I am not disagreeing with you that any of the stuff that I read after that whole intro paragraph, by the way, because I did read through the article. It was a pretty solid article. Gave some pretty good information, some good stuff. But overall, it comes off as you basically saying, this is my life, when everyone knows it's fucking not. you're the one who's basically the frenzied flame or the corrupted giants in this context. The heroes that were basically like once thought of as great people, now subjected to insanity and complete and utter madness and gross factors. You want to sit there and say, "Oh, I'm challenging the norms. I'm being the instigator of these things and fucking doing all this shit." No, you're one of the bosses. You're one of the insane masses who continuously fights the main character. You're not the main character in this context. Regardless of whether or not how based you are at actually playing the game, I highly doubt that you didn't abuse summons at least a little bit. But, like, Jesus Christ. Step off of yourself, come off of your huffing your own farts, and, like, come back down to reality and realize that you're just kind of a shitty person. You kind of are. Like, I don't have any other way of sugarcoating it or making that, like, more apropos, I guess. The way that you view the world is toxic. The way that you view people is painfully disgusting. The way that you talk about the industry is absolutely gross to me. And this is coming from someone who is a lot more neutral than this. Like, I didn't care about, like, any of the stuff that you did. Like, you're fine. I can ignore you. But, like, this is dumb. But I did want to at least say that she did do at least a somewhat decent job at actually, reporting this whole situation, or reporting on the actual thing. And I think that this excerpt here, I'll try to keep it, again, spoiler-free as much as possible for those who want to experience the DLC. But I'll at least read this excerpt that I pulled out, which I thought, like, generally goes through the rest of the article as best as it can. Again, this is, like, seriously one of those things where I don't recommend you go to this article, but it's one that I read through, and I think that it's okay. A solid 4 out of 10, which is good considering this is gaming journalism we're talking about here. But this excerpt here starts off with, as I work my way through both new and familiar enemies and the terrain, it swiftly becomes clear that Shadow of the Erdtree is a super condensed version of Elden Ring, a hyper-strong essence you'd dilute in water to make it last longer. If this expansion had launched in 2022 instead of the incredible award-winning game we got, we'd still be tickled pink. It's that dense, that demanding, and deep in terms of gameplay systems, features, weapons, and more. Nearly every enemy type from the base game is represented here, from the grave birds to the little jar guys, and beastmen from Faramazula to the Terra Marier, the Marier boatmen from Lyria of the Lakes, and those goddamn ankle-biting dogs. The arenas you discover will remind you of places in the lands between poisonous swamps, crumbling castles, and dark dungeons and creepy caves. Like, again, that is genuinely serviceable. Like, that's fine. The rest of the article is okay. Like, I don't think that, like, they mention the rest of their lives in the rest of the article for that. And if they do, I stand wildly corrected. But, like, that's fine. Like, that seems like a normal-ass review, and yet the intro paragraph is all waxing poetic about how I'm the instigator of all the things and trying to make the world better, but I'm being attacked by on all sides by all these people who I deem as fucking evil. And yet, you don't realize that you're suffering from madness, and you are the kind of person that's like the Dark Souls boss. It's very strange indeed how you would start off like that. And I don't even want to read the rest of the article because that intro paragraph sucks. And it's not getting me into the actual article. You're talking about your life. You're talking about your experiences in real life and on Twitter. Don't bring that up in a fucking article about DLC for a video game. It's not that deep. But, again, whatever. Next up here, I wanted to talk a little bit about this other article that I found, mainly just this specific piece here on Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree. I'm not sure when this was or what this was. I just pulled this off of a random Reddit post that I found. But again, I find it really interesting, again, just to talk about a slight difference of this, saying, so this one's on Game Rant with about Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC should break one Soulsborne convention for a truly unique story. Elden Ring followed several key traditions established in the Souls series, but its DLC should deviate from these in order to differentiate itself. With the actual quote that I'm going to talk about here is essentially it's approaching its second anniversary. Loyal fans are growing increasingly restless over the lack of concrete news surrounding its first major expansion, Shadow of the Erdtree. The project is surrounded in mystery with just a name of a single image to be go by so far. This is probably made before that, so again, this is just, again, one that I guess I found, so it's maybe months out of date at this point. So many are eagerly supporting the rate of the finished product could entail, given the supposed size and scope of its DLC. Developer From Software, this is important. Developer From Software could attempt to do something a little different by allowing the players to control a voice character from Elden Ring's world instead of their usual customized protagonist. Like, what do I even have to say about that? That's like not already understanding why that's dumb. For a number of reasons. Like, the Silent Protagonist is one that, like, I could go off on an entire tangent about this, but to make a long story short, the Silent Protagonist has been in a video game type mentality for forever, and the only, like, movie that I can think about that has had a good Silent Protagonist was Hardcore Henry, because it, like, was able to get across a lot of personality through just hand gestures and movements and stuff, and it inevitably ended up working out spectacularly. Now, that's not to specifically say that overall video games and narrative movies are the exact same thing, but voicing a voice protagonist, like, you know how expensive that could be to get lines and stuff for that happening? Like, and again, voicing one of the actual characters is not a prequel. You're still doing your own journey. I don't know. It just feels like a little weird to me that's your one biggest thing. It's like, we need a voice protagonist, when very clearly, due to its fucking popularity, that's not the biggest thing that's necessarily for it. Just give us more Elden Ring, give it as big of a polish as it can be, and just fucking go off, Queen. Like, you already have people by the balls. Pay them more, give them more money, or give them what they want. It's whatever. Anyway, I think that'll about do it for this episode of I Talk About Somehow Gaming Journalism again, for whatever reason. And I think that, yeah, in the coming few weeks, I wanted to push this video out a little bit more quickly than I normally do, because I was going to put out an update today, but then this article dropped, and I'm like, oh shit, gotta talk about that. So yeah, there's going to be an update video coming out this Saturday about the 1K subscriber stuff, where I'm going to take the channel and stuff going forward, and then I'm going to have the 1K salt update, which is basically just, I take a bunch of the actual comments that I've gotten over the years and just talk over them. So yeah, over the course of this time that I've had this channel, I am very happy that I have now hit 1,000 subscribers, so thank you all for that. And again, I'll give you more updates and other stuff in the coming days about what I'm going to be doing with the channel moving forward, and of course, the good old comment salt update that I promised you at the start of this whole journey. So again, I wanted to thank you all so much for watching this episode, or this video, as well as thank you for watching my entire channel and giving me this whole channel. So, love you all, and a peace. Off.
Hey man.